All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to peel back the layers on a really profound spiritual tradition that has captivated poets, artists, and seekers for centuries: Sufism. So, chances are you've seen this image before, right? The flowing white robes, that almost trance-like spinning. It's absolutely mesmerizing. But what's really going on here? What's the deep, spiritual philosophy that actually sets this incredible dance in motion?
Well, this isn't just for show. It's a super powerful spiritual practice, and it's called Sama. And honestly, it's the perfect doorway for us to step through to start to understand the much, much bigger world of Sufism.
Okay, so let's start right there with the dance itself. Because if we can unpack the symbolism behind this one iconic practice, we can really start to get a handle on the entire tradition. To really get why they do this, we've got to rewind a bit, way back to the 8th century, during the Abbasid Caliphate. Imagine a time when some people felt that faith was getting a little too, well, materialistic, too focused on external rules and worldly success. Sufism kind of bubbled up as a reaction to that. It was all about exploring the inner journey, the mystical heart of Islam. Okay, so the whirling, it's this beautiful, visible expression of a deep inner journey, but it's just one piece of a huge puzzle. So now, let's look beyond the dance, to the core practices, the inner disciplines that really form the foundation of the Sufi path. And right at the heart of it all is this concept called tazkiyah, or self-purification. Now, don't think of it like punishment. It's more like polishing a mirror. The idea is that your soul is a mirror, but it gets clouded by ego and worldly things. So practices like repentance and fasting, they're about wiping that mirror clean so it can perfectly reflect the divine. And wow, this path is just so rich and diverse. It's not just about the dance. We're talking about deep meditation, which they call muraqabah, and quiet contemplation, and famously, of course, poetry and music. But these aren't for entertainment. They're seen as these powerful tools that can literally elevate your spirit and crack your heart open to something bigger.
So, what's driving all this? What's the core belief system, the philosophical engine that powers these beautiful and demanding practices?
It really boils down to 4 interconnected pillars. It all starts with tawhid. This is a huge concept. It's the idea of God's absolute unity. The belief that everything, you, me, the stars, is all a reflection of one single divine source. So if you believe that, what's the most natural way to experience that unity? Well, it's love. And that love is grown through ihsan, a state of deep, humble devotion, often with the help of a spiritual guide who can help you navigate this really profound inner journey. Now, these incredible ideas, they didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They were shaped and spread by some of history's most influential mystics, poets, and thinkers. So yeah, the roots of Sufism go way back to the 8th century, but things really took off between the 12th and 16th centuries. This became its golden age, just an explosion of creative and spiritual flourishing. And the figures from this era, their words are still inspiring millions all across the globe today. And if you want one person who just nails the essence of Sufi belief, it's gotta be the 13th century Persian poet Rumi. This quote, it perfectly sums up that whole idea of tazkiyah, of self-purification. The love is already there. You just have to do the work to remove the barriers you've built up against it. And Rumi's impact, it's just staggering. He wasn't just writing poetry. As a Sufi master, his words became a primary vehicle for spreading these ideas of divine love and devotion. His work just transcended all the borders of the Persian-speaking world, which is why he's still one of the most widely read poets on the entire planet today. But here's the thing. Rumi stood on the shoulders of giants. You have thinkers like Ibn Arabi, who they called the Great Master, who provided the deep philosophical architecture for all this, and poets like Attar of Nishapur, who was a huge influence on Rumi, by the way. He crafted these epic stories that are basically roadmaps for the soul's journey. Together, they built this incredible foundation. And this is so important to get. This isn't just ancient history. Sufism is a vibrant, living tradition with diverse branches that are still thriving all around the world. Today, Sufism is practiced through different orders, or tariqas, and each one has its own lineage and its own unique flavor. So the Mevlevi order continues the tradition of the whirling sima that we started with. Others, like the Naqshbandi, put a special emphasis on the relationship with a spiritual guide, while the Qadari focus intensely on cultivating divine love and devotion.
So, if your curiosity has been sparked by this little explainer, there are some fantastic resources out there to continue your own journey. Books by scholars like Michael Sells, online communities, and some really great documentaries can all offer a much deeper dive into this fascinating world. And that really brings us to a final thought, doesn't it? The questions that Sufism raised all those centuries ago about searching for inner peace when you're pulled by all these outer distractions, they feel more relevant today than ever. In our own lives, surrounded by all this noise and materialism, it makes you wonder, what does an inner journey truly mean to you?